I want to make things clear before I start. I am not the first person who thought of this. This is not my idea. I've never had an original idea in my life. Have you guys seen my channel? So I was browsing the internet a while ago, and I came across a series of posts of people who had obtained a Zootopia VHS tape. Now, for those of you who don't know, Zootopia is my favorite film. I'm not a furry, it just happens to be my favorite film of all time. And I actually really love collecting VHS tapes. I have something like over 100 classic Disney clamshell VHS tapes, and this tape looked like it would be a really fun project to partake in, and I decided, you know what? I want to do that. I want to make a Zootopia VHS tape. I documented the whole thing. Here's the video. I hope that you enjoyed the process and probably learned a thing or two. Enough chit chat, let's get going. The original creator of the Zootopia VHS, a guy by the name of Changa Husky, actually released the cover he made onto Fur Affinity, which you can see here. It's not the highest quality, especially if you take a look at the small text here at the bottom, but I think it'll do. Well, the stuff is too big to fit on a standard piece of paper, so it's off to Office Depot to see about getting it printed out on one of their machines.
You can buy files for divorce at Office Depot? Good God.
I spent a while looking around for cardstock at the right size, and finally I found one that I think will work perfectly. Time to load the file into the machine. Here goes. Well, this is bad. I sized the image to the exact millimeter length and width that I need, and unfortunately this machine doesn't allow me to select that as a print option, so this is way too small. And unfortunately, since this is technically copyrighted material, the employees in the store weren't able to help me either. So obviously Office Depot didn't end up working. What I ended up doing was shopping around, finding different printing stores in town, and finally I came across one that was more than happy to print technically copyrighted materials, with the understanding that I'm not in this to resell it, it's just a personal project of mine. In exchange, I can't tell you what the store is that was willing to do this, for obvious reasons, but needless to say, they pulled through.
What you're hoping for?
Oh wow, yeah, and you know, I think that's exactly right.
Sweet.
Wow, and it feels perfect too.
Awesome.
All right. With the cover all printed out, all I needed to do was cut it out and slip it into a clamshell case. I just happen to have a spare of the Rescuers Down Under, so I'll take that cover out and slip the new Zootopia cover in. And would you look at that? It looks super good. I'm excited this is turning out so well. With the cover done, now it's time to fill the case up with goodies. Now, these are all tapes from my own collection, and each of them has inserts of various kinds. Robin Hood here, for example, has this beautiful purple pamphlet advertising the Walt Disney Masterpiece Collection, which this Zootopia VHS tape is meant to look like it belongs to, so I'll definitely want to scan that. This 35th anniversary edition of Bambi has a lot of stuff inside, most of which is just for that film, such as this little booklet full of art and quotes from various people who made the film. But there is this business reply card that you can send to Disney as part of a survey. Unfortunately, this particular copy has the Bambi logo at the top of the card, but this one from The Sword in the Stone has the generic Walt Disney Masterpiece Collection logo in its place, so I think this will be perfect to include. Moving on to Fantasia 2000, we've got this little advertisement here for a giveaway to send families to Walt Disney World, and I think I'll throw that in there just for good measure. This coupon code for batteries, however, I'm just going to leave alone. So with my inserts picked out, it's time to scan them all into the computer so I can print out copies for later. And these are the final results. I'll just take these to the printer later. They'll be able to make sure that they're all the correct paper thickness and glossiness and all that stuff. Now it's time to take a look at the film itself. Luckily I already own Zootopia on DVD, so it's just a matter of plopping the disc in the drive and ripping it. And then I decided to do something to really sell the VHS look. I took the film and created a pan and scan full screen version to record to the tape later. This is a tedious process, and I ended up altering almost every single shot so it could look its best. After a few days, here's the final result. You can see all the editing on the timeline. For authenticity's sake, I added all the classic VHS bumpers you'd see from the time period, such as the FBI warning logo and the Walt Disney Home Video bumper. I also included custom full-screen versions of the Big Hero 6 teaser trailer and the Moana teaser trailer, since those are the films that would have appeared on this tape had it actually been released by Disney. So it was right around this time when I decided to post my progress on the website previously known as Twitter, and through some sheer stroke of luck, the original guy who made this VHS tape that I have been making reached out to me and said, "Hey, that's pretty cool." And of course, I needed to talk to him. So I met up with him in VR chat and sat down for a quick interview, and Changa Husky was super awesome and very willing to answer any questions I had. And you could tell just by talking with him just how enthusiastic he was about this. Almost as enthusiastic as I am. Maybe a little more.
Oh, it actually started out as a bit of video pedantic irritation. There was a lot of, at the time, there's a lot of videos showing up of like, hey, here's Game of Thrones as an old 90s show. And all the details were wrong. And I just kind of got irritated. So I wanted to make a bunch of like something modern as old TV show. And like, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to like stick it on VHS and digitize it and get all the details right. The thought was, well, Zootopia, because I was thinking about all the influences that are in that movie. I was posting them on like /art. Zootopia. And at one point, somebody said something along the lines of, oh, it'd be amazing if I could see the whole film this way. And I'm like, well, okay. My original idea was I was just going to make like 10 of these and like give them out. And at first, I had to duplicate the tape. That meant, I have to make the label. So I make the label. And then, of course, you have to make the case. So I spent a lot of time, working on the case. And there's a lot of elements that were like taken from the DVD. And I made 10 copies, which, and I was like, I'll probably give them out at a con or something. They'll go to, whatever. We have regular parties at our house. And like a week later, we had our party. And people coming by going, oh my God. And they're like, and everyone's like passing around and ogling, and they all vaporized. Everyone wanted one. I'm like, crap, I'm going to have to make 10 more. And I made like more. And then like Con gave them. Okay, well, suffice to say, I've lost track of how many I've given out, but it's close to 100. During all this process, we had a moment where, because we're in Southern California, and me and my roommate got tickets to the pre-Oscar event for the animation category. So we go to this. The thing is, it was going to be usually the tradition is it's hosted by the winners of the previous year. And that year, it was Zootopia. So we snuck in a tape, and we snuck in 2 tapes and just one of the papers, and because Byron Howard and Rich Morris were going to be there. And after the presentation, everyone runs up to the stage, it's crowding. And my roommate, he just kind of stands there and holds up one of the tapes, kind of like in that 80s movie. And it was kind of sad that Rich Moore wasn't there because he had the flu, but Byron Howard was there. And he looks and he's like, come over. And he ogled over it. He actually adored it. We gave them copies. And he autographed the cover of mine. And so I have one autographed with Byron Howard. I should tell you about the one copy that still makes me giggle, and it's glorious, and it's hopefully a Mandela effect. And I put one in a box with a bunch, some plushie, and a whole bunch of other Disney tapes, and an ET Atari 2600 cartridge, and some junk, and dropped it off at Goodwill. So not only did an ET cartridge, but a unopened, working Zootopia sealed copy went through Goodwill, and somebody would have found it and went, what? Mandela effect.
Changa was kind enough to provide me with a higher quality version of the tape cover than I had previously been able to find on my own. Oh, ignore that, that's for something else. And at first glance, these covers look pretty much the same. However, if you take a closer look, you can see the new cover is much higher quality, especially looking at the small text at the bottom. Well, the time has come to record the film to tape. I didn't have any blank tapes on me, and Corey from My Life in Gaming was kind enough to ship some of his extras to me for the purposes of making this video. Corey, you're a legend, I cannot thank you enough. Now, how to get the film onto a tape? Well, I had hoped to simply burn the movie to a DVD and play it through a DVD player onto a VHS, but unfortunately my PlayStation 2 didn't read any of the discs that I attempted. I tried using another DVD player built into this small CRT that I used to play Pokemon on repeat all day long, but no dice there either. I guess I gotta think of another way. And a couple weeks later, I received this device in the mail. This is an HDMI to RCA transcoder, which will allow me to plug my computer directly into a VCR. This actually turned into a great solution because it let me get the film set up and troubleshoot issues in real time. Well, that's everything I need. Time to dig out my old VCR, plug it into my huge CRT, and plug my laptop into the VCR using the transcoder.
First try, no way. Look at that. Wow, no way. I spent all day yesterday struggling with my analog duo to no avail, and yet this works first try. What are the odds?
The good news is, the transcoder worked. The bad news is, when I tried to press record on a blank tape, the player ejected the tape instead. It did this a few times actually, and even now I have no idea why. Well, to quote Technology Connections, through the power of buying two, I actually had a second identical VCR in storage. I dug it out and tried recording to that instead, and, well, what do you know, it works perfectly. I'm just going to record one of my old game room tours for a few minutes, and it plays back perfectly. We're all set. All that's left is to load up the film, change the aspect ratio on VLC player, and press the record button at the right time. And that's it. All we do now is wait 2 hours until the film is finished and the tape runs out. Okay, my inserts are ready, so another quick trip to the printer and they're in hand. These look amazing, and honestly I can't even tell the difference between these and the originals. Just gotta cut them to size, and fold some of them. And these are all good to go. Let's stick the label on the tape. And of course, we can't forget the official Walt Disney Home Video security strip that goes on the bottom of the case. Let's stuff everything into the case. And we're done. So there you have it. I now own Zootopia on VHS, just as Disney originally intended. Probably. Anyway, huge thank you to all of you for watching. Shout out to Changa Husky, of course, for providing me with all of his knowledge and experience of making this in the first place. I'm probably going to call it there. I mean, Zootopia on VHS, you can't get much better than that. I mean, it's not like I could put the movie on Laserdisc or anything. Unless